know where they're actually coming in from.
There's, oh, the runners will come down. Why is it pulling down? Do we know that?
The wind's just
Gotcha. Do you want to unhook it so we don't break it? Move that over to there. Next. That white.
There we go. If everyone could just grab a seat for me, and we'll commence the formalities. My name's Chad Gillies. I'm the Crime Manager at the Hume LAC based here in Goulburn. On behalf of the Hume Local Area Command, I'd like to welcome everybody here today and thank you, our hosts, the New South Wales Police Academy. And to kick off the formalities, I'd like to call Mr. Gary Warboys, Assistant Commissioner, Region Commander for Southern Region, up to say a few words. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Chad. And it does, it feels like I'm back in the main street talking to you way back here. But in any event, we'll see how we go. Thank you so much for the opportunity to come along here today. Mr. de Zeveland is at a funeral and sends his apologies and asked me to come along here and fill in. And as people know, my affection and affiliations with Goulburn, I was only too happy and very proud to come along and do that. Our Mayor, our General Manager, Carol, Esther, thank you so much for your presence here today, and indeed all the police and the students and our people in the community that have turned out today as well to see some of the displays and indeed celebrate what we think is a very important piece in our history as police officers. It wasn't that long ago we celebrated 150 years in terms of policing in this state, but here we are today and certainly over the last month or so and in the next couple of months celebrating what is another significant milestone, and that is 100 years of women in our organisation. You might just turn over towards the van over there and see a good friend of mine, Burt, walking across. Now Burt, you just remind me so much 32 years ago when I moved from out from the Redfern Academy. Our ladies with us, and there are only a few of those, were dressed like Burt. They had their high heels on, they had their skirts on, they had their tunics on, they had a handbag, they weren't given a holster, they had to put their service pistol in their handbag with their handcuffs. There was no capsicum spray or tasers or anything like that, and dare not those ladies ever take those high heels or stockings off. And in fact, of course, you'd never see a handbag anywhere but across your shoulder because it always had a loaded pistol in there as well. And those ladies in that time, 32 years ago, came out to commands right across the state, and it was actually still in that time that I seen those ladies move from how Barb is today in a very short space of time to actually a sort of a uniform type dress. And in fact, some of the old cranky sergeants that never ever would think that they would be able to roster two ladies on a first response vehicle. In fact, they started out doing that, and they rostered one of us males in behind just in case they got into trouble or in case they couldn't do the work. And that went on for a little while, and probably over 12 months or so. In my time, 32 years ago, we actually seen very quickly our police ladies move from the handbag scenario as we see now, right through to sitting in trucks, two up our ladies, dressed very similar to the men and doing all the jobs that men actually did. And there was quite, I think, a watershed moment in time. And then we look around here today and we look at no matter what specialty group we have, whether it's OSG, whether it's our highway patrol, we have two ladies there on top of our horses. Mounted area forensic services, the list goes on and on and on. And in each one of those places in our organisation, we now have women fairly well represented. And in fact, our organisation itself has 37% female officers in our organisation right across the board, which I think is absolutely fantastic when I start to draw that back to just 32 years ago when there was such a major difference in terms of equity. I think today, if we can have a look around, we'll see what the police organisation has actually achieved in terms of our women in policing. This display is something that has run from Sydney down the coast out here to Goulburn. Tomorrow it's down at far south coast. A bit later this month we go out to some of the Waggers and the Griffiths and so forth, and move back to Sydney for the culmination of this celebration of 100 years. Can I just finish by saying that I think it's fantastic that this equity thing, if we want to call it that, has evolved to where it is today. But there's just one message that I always like to leave with people, and that is that I still think that no matter where we go with equity, we can never get it mixed up with common decency. And as an organisation, we can have all the equity we want, but there's no doubt in my mind, and I'll say this as long as I'm the region commander until the very last day, that ladies in our organisation deserve much, much more than equity. They still deserve the respect and considerations that all ladies should have. I still find that I can't go by without opening a door, without letting a lady in a lift, without assisting a lady to pick up something that might be a little bit too heavy, refraining from using bad language or cursing or swearing or carrying on in the presence of our ladies. And my view is, and it's very strong, that we can have all the equity, and we can see that displayed here today, and that's fantastic. But still, us men, we certainly need to consider that our ladies deserve that common decency and consideration as they go about their work with us as one in policing. So thank you very much for the opportunity to come along here today. Those special guests, thank you. I'd like to now ask Marion Smith to come forward, a student police officer here at the Goulburn Academy, and just say a few words for us. Thanks very much, Marion.
Thank you, sir. So my name's Marion Smith, and I'm in my final weeks here at the Academy and hope to be attesting on May 1st, and this will see me realise a long-standing dream of becoming a police officer. I started my training as a police officer as a distance education student, which allowed me to do all the academic studies such as law and ethics while working full-time and still living at home. In January, I began down here for the second half of the training, which involved taking on many new challenges and many new skills that I hadn't done before, such as firearm training, defensive tactics and drill and parade. I'd never done any of these things before, and I did find them very challenging, and the entire course itself is very physically and mentally demanding, but I feel that that's better prepared me for the challenges that I will face as a police officer. Before becoming a policing student, I was actually fortunate enough to work for the organisation as a civilian forensic scientist, and I've been doing that for a number of years. Doing that, I saw firsthand just the difference that and impact that good policing can make for both victims of crime and the community as a whole. And I also saw the variety of exciting, unique and wonderful opportunities that a policing career can offer you. And it's ultimately those things that led to me making the decision to become a police officer. As someone who feels really strongly about working in a field that does give back to their community, I can't imagine not having made this choice. I'm excited to be joining New South Wales Police as one of the many female small officers, and I'll be particularly quite memorable marching out this year while we're celebrating 100 years in policing. I do feel that women will bring their own unique experience, perspectives and skills to policing, and that just makes for us for a stronger police force that we can better serve the community. Thank you very much.
Just wait for the
technical difficulties to fix themselves. I would just like to, again on behalf of the Hume LAC, thank all the volunteers that have assisted today, especially with the barbecue. I'd like to thank Coles Goulburn, who assisted and donated the water to the police for today's festivities. And I'd like to thank Daniel and his team from Mission Australia, who do a lot of work for the community, and all the monies raised today will be going towards Mission Australia. And last but certainly not least, I would certainly like to thank Sergeant Catherine Schmidt from our Barrel Police Station. She was tasked with putting today together on behalf of the Hume LAC. So could I just get everyone to put their hands together for Catherine Schmidt? Thank you, Catherine. All right, and once this screen fixes itself, I'll call Esther up to commence her talk. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a real thrill to be here today to help celebrate 100 years of policing for women. And I'm sorry that I can't show my PowerPoint presentation, but we've had an issue with the equipment, so I hope my talk isn't too dry without the photos to go with it. But I joined New South Wales Police in 1984, and things were fairly different back then than they are today. First thing that happened to me was I went down to the into College Street to the recruiting section, and as the "Do you measure up" sign says over there, we had to be measured, and I was measured and I wasn't tall enough. And I was really disappointed, and I thought, oh well, that goes my career in policing. I was actually just slightly under 5'6", which was the requirement. So I went downstairs and I was leaving, and the desk sergeant said, "What happened, love?" And I said, "Oh, I'm not tall enough." He said, "Oh, fuck that." He said, "Go down to the domain and hang by your legs and come back in half an hour." So I thought, oh, okay, I'll give that a go. So I was actually working at Australian Consolidated Press in the city at that time. So I went down there because I knew they had a gym downstairs in the building. And I went in there and I explained that I was trying to join the police force and I wasn't tall enough and I needed some stretching exercises. So this young fellow gave me a few exercises and I was on the floor sort of rolling this way and that way and stretching, and he said, "Right, that should do it." He said, "But the only problem is don't walk across Hyde Park in your high heels because it'll compress you and you'll go back to what you were." So I took my shoes off, ran across Hyde Park barefoot, and the sergeant at the desk said, "Oh, good on you, love, good luck." I went upstairs and said I was back, and they said, "Oh, you don't give up very easily, do you?" And I said, "No, I really am taller. I really am taller." So they measured me and they said, "Oh, you were a little bit taller, but you're still not quite." And I said, "Oh, I won a Rotary Youth Leadership Award years ago." And they said, "Okay, you're in." So that was my first brush with the regulations and all the rules that we had to follow in those days. At the police academy, I opened my rules and regulation book, and it said police women will wear bras at all times. So I think things have changed a little bit, but I did wonder at the time, why wouldn't police women wear bras? So at the academy, it was the first time that I'd actually held a firearm, and it was a bit scary. I hadn't had anything to do with them at all. But I remember out at the range, we were all lying down in the prone position and we were all shooting at the targets. The next thing, this noise came beside me, a bit of dust, and one of the recruits there had hit the actual steel frame of the target, and I had just missed by about this much being shot by either my own bullet or one of my colleagues' bullets. So it was dangerous from day one. I was actually transferred to Campbelltown Police Station, and at that time there was only, I think there was one Highway Patrol female there and one General Duties officer there. And so the two of us going there at once was a big thing for Campbelltown, and there was a lot of talk about, oh, bloody women, you know, we don't need these women here, and it was a little bit challenging. But when we got there, we found that I think they realised that we were okay and we were there to do a job. And I remember going into the charge room on the first day, being shown around, and the charge sergeant said to me, "Oh, there's a lot of good young blokes here for you, love." And I said, "I'm not here to meet blokes, I'm here to do a job." So anyway, it didn't take long for us to be completely accepted. I was pretty naive in those days.
I'm sure your fitness side and your running and that'll be fine.
Weights.
Oops! I did it again, baby. Yeah!
Tune in tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Bye for now.